Welcome back, everyone. In this part, we're gonna learn listening a traveler's adventures on page 19. Before you're gonna learn with John Jason, let me teach you a vocabulary from the first picture to the fifth pictures first. สวัสดีค่ะนักศึกษาในคลิปนี้เราจะมาเรียน listening ในหน้า 19 แต่ก่อนที่หนูจะไปเรียนกับอาจารย์เจสันอาจารย์ขอสอนคำศัพท์ตามรูปภาพที่ 1 ถึง 5 นี่ก่อนนะคะไปกันเลย For the first activity it is
Hang gliding.
hang gliding
Hang gliding.
Everyone repeats
Hang gliding.
hang gliding แปลว่าร่มร่อนค่ะเราก็จะร่อนเหมือนนกเลยเห็นไหม Okay, and for the next one it is
Sailing.
sailing
Sailing.
sailing แปลว่าแล่นเรือใบ and for the third one
Taking photo.
taking photo
Taking photo.
taking photo right she is taking photo เธอกำลังถ่ายรูป the last one it is
Hiking.
hiking
Hiking.
hiking แปลว่าเดินทางไกลค่ะ and for the fourth picture maybe she went to the hot spring or saw waterfall สำหรับรูปภาพที่ 4 เธออาจจะไปบ่อน้ำพุร้อนหรือไปดูน้ำตกนะคะ Okay let's review vocabulary again
Hang gliding.
Sailing.
Taking photo. Hiking.
Okay very good everyone now let's go to Ajahn Jason
Okay, let's start part 2. We're going to practice our listening skills. What's it called? Up here we see a traveler's adventures. Someone's going to talk about their adventures. So what does it say? Part A. The first step, what you're going to do is listen to Suzanne's friends talk about her trip to New Zealand. So sounds like Suzanne's not talking. They're talking about her trip to New Zealand. Okay? So she went to New Zealand, and as you listen the first time, all you need to do is put a check mark on the things that Suzanne has done. And you have how many options? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Which ones did she do? As you look at each picture, remember the vocabulary, right? You're going to listen for words like number 1. Do you remember what we call that? Is that hang gliding, right? And 2, is that windsurfing? What about 3? There's a couple things going on there. Could be about bird watching. Could be about taking photos, right? Number 4, what is she doing? Her eyes are looking at something, a waterfall. What do we call that? Sightseeing. Is that what it is? And the last one looks like, what do we call that? It's like walking. If it's outdoors, it might be hiking or trekking. Okay, so listen carefully and see which ones do you hear her talk about. Listen and put down how many checks you think are right.
Page 19. Lesson D. Travel blogs. 2. Listening. A traveler's adventures. A and B. Listen to Suzanne's friends talk about her trip to New Zealand.
So, yeah, I guess Suzanne is having a really fun trip in New Zealand. Have you read her blog?
No, I didn't know she was writing one. So what's she doing?
Well, yesterday she went hang gliding. She says she was really scared.
Was she? I'm not surprised. You know Suzanne. She's always been scared of trying anything new.
Yeah, fortunately she was with a friend, she says. They took them up in pairs, so...
Huh. So, did Suzanne meet up with her relatives? Her mom has some family there. She wanted to spend a couple of days with them.
She did? Actually, yeah, she did say her aunt and uncle were there. I think she stayed at their house. That's right, she said she's been hiking and stuff like that with them.
Yeah? Nice. So, what else has she done? Has she been up in the north? I heard the hot springs are really amazing up there.
Yeah, I think she actually went in them. Anyway, she's taken a lot of photos, and they're on her blog. Amazingly, they're pretty good photos. I mean, you know what she's usually like with a camera. Her photos are usually terrible.
I know. Well, good for her. I'd love to go to New Zealand. I've never even been out of the country.
You haven't? Me neither.
Okay, I hope you all got that. We'll pause the audio and then we'll go over the answers. Okay, well, now that you've listened to that, I hope you were able to make a good guess at which ones of these 5 has Suzanne done, according to, I believe, her blog. Now, please, if you need to, listen again. Back up the audio, listen again to the whole conversation between the male and the female about Suzanne. And if you have what you feel are your best guesses, let's go over it. So, which ones did you pick? Hopefully, you got number 1 and number 2, 3, right? So if you had trouble with the audio after listening twice, let me show you the audio script. Hopefully you can see it. So, the first one that they talk about, let's zoom in on that. Remember, I gave you the word for that, but if you didn't hear me, or if you didn't catch it, so, what activity? Yesterday she went hang gliding. Do you know that vocabulary? We call that hang gliding, right? Now, did they ever say anything about number 2, windsurfing? Well, apparently no. So you got to know the difference between hang gliding, parasailing, and windsurfing. Now, what's the number 3 about? Let's see. It says she's been hiking and stuff like that with them. And right here it says she's taken a lot of photos and they're on her blog. They're pretty good photos. Her photos are usually terrible, right? So we can see that she's taking photos here. So you can see that number 3 is also something she did, right? And then the last one, I don't know if I can delete those. Never mind. We'll just continue. So number 5, did you get that? So what did they talk about there? What is number 5 about? Well, I already hinted at that or gave you an idea. That shows up. Right in the middle. She stayed at their house. She's been hiking and stuff like that. The key being hiking. She has been hiking. So that is something she did on her trip. So hopefully you got those 3 things. She went hang gliding, which is very brave. She took photos, and they're very good photos. And finally, she went hiking, or she has been hiking. Okay? Good luck, and now we'll move on to the next part. Okay, part 2B. Now we're going to listen again to the audio, answer these questions, and just like always, make sure you've read through the questions carefully. So you already know which activities she did. Let's see here, I should mark these, right? 1, 3, and 5. So now, listen carefully for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the questions. Listen and repeat, okay? Number 1, how does Suzanne's friend know about her trip? Okay? So, hopefully you know what you're listening to the conversation, and you're going to figure out how does the friend know this information about the trip. Did he read something? Did he see something? Did he hear something? Did he talk to Suzanne? These are the kinds of things you're listening for. Next up, number 2, repeat after me. Does Suzanne like to try new things? Okay, so try new things, right? For example, some sport you've never tried before, or a board game you've never tried, or a new food you've never tried. Listen carefully to see what they say about that. Now answer number 3, repeat after me. What family does Suzanne have in New Zealand? And did she meet them on her trip? Okay, so for those 2, could you please try your best to answer both questions? When they say, what family does she have in New Zealand, what are we talking about? Well, is it like her parents, her grandparents, her aunt, her uncle, a cousin? What kind of family members are over there? A brother? And then, did she meet them on her trip means, right? Did she get a chance to visit them while she was traveling? Listen carefully for that. Repeat after me. Number 4. What are Suzanne's photos like? Okay, now, remember this is a question. And we're not asking like, meaning do they like it? Is it something, the like just means what is the character of the photos? Something like, are they good photos? Are they artistic photos? So what's the character of the photos? Not do they like the photos or something like that. What are they like? What is their character? Okay? And then also, why are her friends surprised, right? With that part, something about her photos surprised her friends, right? What is it? Number 5. Repeat. Have Suzanne's friends traveled a lot? Now that's basically like a yes or no question. Just listen carefully, determine if they have also traveled a lot. Okay? We have a sense, we know she's been to New Zealand. What about her friends? Have they done such travels in their life? Okay? So, next step is we're going to listen carefully for those answers, 1 through 5. Write down full sentence answers, okay? Please write a sentence, not just a word. So, for example, number 5. Have Suzanne's friends traveled a lot? Maybe it's no, they haven't even left the country. Or, yes, they have. Yes, they've both been all over Europe and Africa, right? So that's how you can answer these. Good luck. I will now play the audio again.
Page 19. Lesson D. Travel blogs. 2. Listening. A traveler's adventures. A and B. Listen to Suzanne's friends talk about her trip to New Zealand.
So, yeah, I guess Suzanne is having a really fun trip in New Zealand. Have you read her blog?
No, I didn't know she was writing one. So what's she doing?
Well, yesterday she went hang gliding. She says she was really scared.
Was she? I'm not surprised. You know Suzanne. She's always been scared of trying anything new.
Yeah, fortunately she was with a friend, she says. They took them up in pairs, so...
Huh. So, did Suzanne meet up with her relatives? Her mom has some family there. She wanted to spend a couple of days with them.
She did? Actually, yeah, she did say her aunt and uncle were there. I think she stayed at their house. That's right, she said she's been hiking and stuff like that with them.
Yeah? Nice. So, what else has she done? Has she been up in the north? I heard the hot springs are really amazing up there.
Yeah, I think she actually went in them. Anyway, she's taken a lot of photos, and they're on her blog. Amazingly, they're pretty good photos. I mean, you know what she's usually like with a camera. Her photos are usually terrible.
I know. Well, good for her. I'd love to go to New Zealand. I've never even been out of the country.
You haven't? Me neither.
Okay, so part B answers now. First of all, did you write all the answers down? I hope you did that first, because what I'm going to cover now is where to find the information, right? If you didn't get the correct answer, or if you couldn't find it, or if you struggled to find it. So let's look at number 1. How does Suzanne's friend know about her trip? So did you find that, right? So read the up top. Here we can see.
So, yeah, I guess
That
Suzanne is having a really fun trip in New Zealand. Have you read her blog?
No.
So right, how did they find out? Or how did the mail find out, at least? From the blog, right? A blog is something you can read online. Now, number 2, does Suzanne like to try new things? Well, let's go to the key part here.
Well, yesterday she went hang gliding. She says she was really scared.
Was she? I'm not surprised. You know Suzanne. She's always been scared of trying anything new.
Yeah,
Okay, so that should hopefully point out the fact that she's always been scared of trying anything new, right? That's what the female said. She's always been scared of trying anything new. Number 3, what family does Suzanne have in New Zealand? What are the family members there? What did you get? And did she meet them on her trip? So, where was the key point? Hopefully you heard them talk about relatives. Relatives are family. Relatives are brothers, sisters, aunts. And here was the key point.
So, did Suzanne meet up with her relative there? She wanted to spend a couple of days with them.
she did? Actually, yeah, she did say her aunt and uncle were there. I think she stayed at their house. That's right, she said she's been hiking.
Yeah?
So, now that you've refreshed, what family does she have? It was on her mother's side. Her mom has family there. And the mail said she did. Yeah, she did say her aunt and uncle were there. So, did she meet them? Right?
So, did Suzanne meet up with her
yes.
relatives? Her mom has some
Whoops.
family there.
Sorry, I didn't mean to play it again. She wanted to spend a couple days. She did say she stayed at their house. She's been hiking with them, right? So yes, she did meet them. Meet them and do more than just meet. She stayed with them and even went hiking with them. Now, what are Suzanne's photos like? What did you get for that?
Anyway, she's taken a lot of photos, and they're on her blog. Amazingly, they're pretty good photos. I mean,
So, did you catch that? Her photos are pretty good, right? They're pretty good. And they say, why are her friends surprised?
you know what she's usually like with a camera. Her photos are usually terrible.
I know.
Right? Because the answer, her friends are surprised because they're usually terrible. Lastly, have Suzanne's friends traveled a lot? Well, that comes down to the last part.
I'd love to go to New Zealand. I've never even been out of the country.
You haven't? Me neither.
Okay? So what is that? No, right? Both of them said they haven't been out of the country, right?
Her photos are
Whoops.
usually terrible.
He says, I've never been out of the country, and the male says, you haven't? Me neither. So, me neither means the same goes for me. I have also not been out of the country, right? Okay, so hopefully you were able to find those answers. And I hope the best to you, and we'll start the next section now.